Good damn morning, Americans. Jericho Green here with you once again, and it is time to cut a little bit off the price. I'm talking about discount 10% for your green gear until midnight tonight. 10% off all green gear. Link in the description box. Offer code SHOWERS, capital SHOW. The number 3RS. That is SHOW, the number 3RS. Offer code SHOWERS, 10% off of green gear until midnight tonight. Now, this has been a busy time for your girl, Loco Cortez. Your motherfucks are warm and soft or loaded. She got my fucking baby, man. This ding dong, somehow she keeps getting past the baby gate. She keeps getting out in the public and saying weird, what the young kids would call cringy shit. So she was on the floor of the House of Representatives, I believe, day before yesterday, when the stimulus package was signed into law, or maybe right before, because that's what she's crying about. But she's sitting up there talking about we shouldn't sign this bill because it's terrible for the workers and it's only helping the corporations, the largest bailout of corporations and these evil fucking corporations. And the people and the poor people and the workers and the corporations. But what's weird, because she always says dumb shit like that, but she's flailing her arms around. She looks crazy. She looks fucking crazy. She looks like, you remember those Frosted Mini Wheat commercials? Where on one side, it's just the wheat. That's the serious adult side. But the kid side has the frosting. And it would show the kid like wearing their parents' clothing. Like a little girl, she'd have on her mom's dress and a string of pearls and the big old high heels she wasn't even halfway filling up. That's what she looked like. She looked like a child that was acting like an adult. That shit looked crazy. But she's like, this is a shame and you should have shame. What a fucking weirdo, man. But you're talking all this shit about what the corporations are getting and the tax cuts and the bailouts for the corporations. But what about the stupid shit that you put in there? All these stupid fucking refunds for these companies and all this SJW, if you don't know what that means, social justice warrior bullshit, you know, diversity and POC and all their stupid fucking acronyms. What about that shit? That kind of shit is more damaging to the population than giving corporations a tax break. Why do these fucking people forget? These evil corporations that you have such vitriol for, they employ over 70% of the working force. We need these corporations. Some of them have evil people in them. That goes across the board. Every occupation, every job has some evil people in it, has some bad people in it. Every single job, not just corporations. Now you want to talk about corporations, what about some of the labels you wear, the Dolce & Gabbanas, that Gucci? Those are corporations, those are multi-billion-dollar corporations. You have no problem suckling at their teeth. Again, all the shit they talk, all this bullshit they espouse from their laptops and their iPhones are owned by evil corporations, so make up your mind. Your hands aren't clean in this. You're stained also with the bullshit you guys threw in there. That has nothing to do with helping people out. Nothing. People's color and what's between their legs and the jobs they have and the climate change and carbon emissions, shut the fuck up. Who are you to get up there and point your finger at the corporations? The corporations employ people. You damage people with your bullshit policies, your bullshit feelings. How do you feel? What color are they? Who gives a shit? What do you bring to the table? Give a damn what you look like? It could be like, what was that? The blind date where the people sit behind, some kind of partition. You can't see them. You can just talk to them. That's how it should be. I don't give a fuck what you look like. What are you talking about? What are you doing? But I'm telling you, you want a good laugh? I'll put a link in the description box of a clip of her doing this. It is so wild shit. She's so weird, man. It's so awkward. She's like a gangly 10-and-a-half-year-old girl. And then she had some other dummy up there. I don't know if she spoke before or after Loco Cortez, but she was some other congresswoman, and she had these pink latex gloves on. But it was so weird because they were fucking huge. Like she was wearing a man's work gloves. That shit looked weird. Like it clashes with your message. And she was all hysterical and yelling and asking for more time, all over emotional and shit. I was expecting her to pull out a quart of fucking Ben & Jerry's ice cream and start crying. But she just looked so silly and so ridiculous wearing these big ass gloves. You can't find gloves that fit? Some staff member, some lackey couldn't get this woman a pair of fucking gloves that fit? You look ridiculous. That's like coming to talk about some life-threatening, important shit, but you're wearing a clown outfit. They just don't match. They don't mix. You look fucking dumb with these big, ill-fitting gloves on. And that reminded me of something else. Side note, something I can't stand even since I was a child. I can't stand a man in an ill-fitting suit. It's too big, it's too baggy. You got fucked up looking shoes on. I don't know why, but that shit drives me crazy. If you're gonna look sharp, damn it, look sharp. Get a suit that fits and some nice dress shoes. That shit looks ridiculous. I don't know why, but that is a damn pet peeve of mine. Put on a damn suit that fits right. But anyway, these two clowns, these two banshees are yelling and screaming, acting like dumbasses. I'm telling you, check out the video. And I don't remember what that lady's name is with the big ass gloves, but it just looks so fucking stupid. And then what were they calling them? Gentle ladies. Gentlemen and gentle ladies. I never heard that shit in my life. It's ladies and gentlemen. Stop trying to equate everybody and make everybody feel the same. We are gentlemen, they are ladies. It's okay. Gentle lady. Now somebody's gonna tell me in the comment section, well actually Jericho, that was very common for the last, I don't care. I've never heard that shit before. It sounded stupid to call some woman a gentle lady. Isn't that an oxymoron? Aren't ladies usually gentle in nature? Do you need to call them gentle ladies? Just like when people say, oh, I showed up at 8 a.m. in the morning. AM implies that it's morning. Anyway, it's Sunday, my Friday, so we're gonna wrap it on up with some story time with Uncle Jericho. So I was listening to these stories on this thing I listened to on YouTube, and they were they were asking sailors, what are some crazy things you saw out to sea? So of course got me to thinking, and I've told the story about the dead body that we pulled out of the water outside of the United Arab Emirates, the UAE. But I thought I remembered a couple other stories. One, like the shit you see when you're on the open ocean. I'm talking, there's no land within 300-400 miles of you in any direction. It's just you and that big ass, deep ass ocean. And a couple of things that I remember, a few things that stand out is when you're out to sea, you can't see it during the daytime, but at night when it's pitch black, I mean, it's so dark out there that you don't know you can't tell if your eyes are open or closed. It is so, because after a certain time you turn off the running lights on the ship, so there's no light coming from that. There's certainly no light coming from anywhere else out in the ocean. It is pitch black. You can't see shit. And we were going, I'm not sure what country we were off the coast of, probably Kuwait or something like that, but definitely in the Persian Gulf. Pitch black at night, but in the distance, like miles and miles away, you see these spouts, these fountains of fire shooting. I don't know how high they were shooting in the sky. I mean, must have been a few stories high for us to be able to see them from so far away. But against the black background of night, it looked like you were in hell. Pitch black, and these, like I said, these fountains, these plumes, whatever you want to call it, they looked like flamethrowers were coming out of the ground. It looked like you woke up in hell. That shit was crazy, scary. It was just a trip to see. You never seen anything like that. And it's like, shit, how long these fires been burning? Are they ever going to be put out? And it must have been like 20 of them just lined up along this coast, these fountains of fire shooting into the sky. And what I was going to say was, when you're at night, you can't see it, but during the daytime, but at night, around the ship, probably going out about 20 feet or so, is this web of electricity, because you're on a big piece of steel, there's tons of electric equipment on it, you're in the water, but there's this web of electricity that goes out around the boat, and it looks like these like bioluminescent lights underneath the surface. And there's rumors, I don't know how true it is, that if you fell over, you would get electrocuted by this web. But it was always a trip, when you're bored as fuck on mid-watch, on, on aft lookout, on the fantail. That means as far back as you can go on the boat while you're sitting there smoking cigarette after cigarette, looking down and seeing this electric web spreading out from the ship. And that's another thing. Anybody in the military, Marines, I know, of course, the Navy, Army, Air Force, I'm not sure, but there's this thing called mid-watch. The worst thing to ever happen to a sailor or Marine. Shit. Mid-watch, 12 midnight to 4 a.m. 0400. That shit was the worst, especially in boot camp, because you've never been more tired in your life. Like, the scale of being tired goes parenting a new baby, and then boot camp right underneath. You're tired as fuck. But that was the worst watch, because, bedtime taps is 2200, 10 o'clock at night. But you got to be on mid-watch. You got to be there by like 11:45. You got to get there early and be ready to take over at midnight. Not showing up at midnight. You're so damn tired, especially being overseas. You're probably partying the night before, but you got to pull your shit together. You got to man up. You got to sack up and do your mid-watch. And when you're out there in the open ocean, it's quiet, it's dark, it's a perfect time to fall asleep, especially when you're doing aft engine watch, the hum of those engines, it's warm, nobody's bothering you, you just got to be down there by yourself, be an adult, and stay awake. You have to. That's one thing I can proudly say. I never fell asleep on watch, because there's no bigger piece of dog shit than someone who falls asleep on watch. If you don't believe me, ask anybody who served. You fall asleep on watch? Man, I can't even look at you anymore. And then one time, pretty sure I haven't told this story before, we were off the coast of Puerto Rico, probably 25 miles or so. So we decided to do what's called a swim call, where we anchor the ship, and then you can jump off the boat into the open ocean, swim around. If you don't have watch, I was on watch that day, so I couldn't partake. But it was it was a celebration. It was a day off. There was music. We had barbecues, people playing catch, volleyball net. They had the little safety nets extended over the outside of the boat that went like 10 feet in case your ass falls over. It was Puerto Rico. It was late spring, it was like late May. It was hot. The water looked beautiful. The most beautiful turquoise, looked like a damn pamphlet. Shit was beautiful. So people are jumping into the water. Oh yeah, this reminds me of another story inside of this story. This dude, so the main deck is, gotta be 20, 30 feet or more from the water line. And this dude was like, I'm trying to do 3 flips. Everybody, look at me. Backs everybody up so he can back up and run and jump off the ship and look at me, right? So this fool jumps, he does about 2 of those flips. And the third one, he didn't come all the way out. Boom! Right on the fucking surface of the water. Belly flop of the year. Bam! Hits the fucking water so hard, man. It was a slapping sound that a pimp would have been jealous of. And this fool hits the water, bam, and then slowly starts to sink. So the next day, of course, he's the talk of the ship. Like, oh, what happened? This motherfucker, what happened to him? So the next day, from the top of the back of his head all the way down to like past his ass was black and blue, like the nastiest bruise you've ever seen. Dude's lucky he didn't die or cause like major head trauma. This dude fucked himself up. That shit was so funny. Anyway, so I'm on aft lookout. That means I'm on all the way to the back of the boat, scanning the horizon with my binoculars, watching out. Now I heard that this was a rumor. I don't know how true it is, but there's somebody he's a forward lookout right outside the bridge. So he's almost all the way to the front of the ship. The bridge is where they drive the ship from. So he's standing right outside the bridge, and he had an M14 with a scope on it. And rumor was it was his job, if a shark grabs you, to shoot you, so you stop flailing around. The sharks can basically concentrate on you, and everybody else can get out of the water to safety. I don't know how true that was, but there was a dude up there with an M14 and a scope on it, and he was hanging out up there. So, I mean, and it's kind of brutal, but makes sense. You don't want everybody to get fucked up. So I'm on aft lookout, and meanwhile, remember, until we got to the point where they decided to drop anchor and everybody could do the swim call, like I said, it was parties, barbecue, food. A couple of the chiefs had some fishing lines in the water that they're dragging behind the ship, and they caught this thing must have weighed 100 pounds, the weirdest, ugliest looking fish. I never seen no shit like that in my life. Nobody could identify it. They didn't even want to eat it because it looked so fucked up, but it was huge. But for some stupid reason, people thought it would be more funny or make more sense to throw their food off the back of the ship instead of using the trash can. Now, they weren't throwing the plates and forks and cups and all that, but all the food, leftover hot dogs and shit like that, they're throwing it off the back of the ship into the water. So basically, these fools are chumming the water. So I'm on aft lookout, and I look and I see something. I'm like, the fuck was that? And so I look again, and it's the biggest fucking shark. This thing had to be 10, 12 feet long, big as shit. It looked like a damn vehicle swimming through the water. That thing was huge. So I get on the sound-powered phone, and I call up there to the bridge and tell them, hey, I spotted a shark back here. And they're like, man, stop fucking around. I was like, I am not fucking around. There's a shark probably 10, 15 feet off the back of the ship. So they send somebody down there to verify, and he's like, oh yeah. It was swimming back and forth in the back of the ship. It wasn't going around to the side, because I believe it was port side, which is the left side of the ship. That's where everybody was doing the swim call. There's probably 15, 20 people in the water, splashing around, having a good time. You know that scene out of a horror movie like Jaws or something, where all the teenagers are splashing around on the surface, and Jaws is looking up at all their legs kicking around in the water and shit. But the shark never went over to that side where the people were. I don't know if maybe it grabbed a hold of the bait or the fish that was caught in the line, because, you know, like I said, they were dragging fishing lines behind the ship. I don't know if it was just focused on that, but fortunately it didn't go around to the port side of the ship and start fucking everybody up. So that was nice. But those are a few of my stories of being out to sea. I got a couple more. I'll keep a couple more in my repertoire. But yeah, the open ocean is some crazy shit. You ever want to learn your position in the world and learn what an insignificant, tiny, pocket lint speck piece of shit you are to the universe? Take your ass out to the open ocean. You will soon realize that you don't mean a damn thing, and that ocean will swallow your ass up, never to be seen again until James Cameron does some underwater expedition and finds your ass. It's a wrap. The ocean is no joke. I've seen aircraft carriers, 1,500 feet, 1,100 feet long. God knows how wide. Huge. If you're standing on the pier next to an aircraft carrier and you look up, you can't even see the top of it. I've seen the ocean slap that thing around like a fucking rubber ducky in the bathtub. We ain't shit to the world. If the ocean wanted to, it would go ahead up on land and wash everything we've ever created out in the ocean. It will sink to the bottom and the earth won't give a fuck. I'm about to hop in this damn rat race. What do you think of that? But you know how it goes. I try to be done with the left, but they just won't let me. Please subscribe. Hit that notification bell, because every time it rings, a piece of shit liberal cries. Don't forget, get your green gear. 10% off until midnight. Offer code SHOWERS, all caps, SHOW, the number 3RS. Utilize the PayPal link and the Teespring link to get your green gear. I am Jericho Green. Man, I'm out.